Well, there does seem to be more uncertainty than usual surrounding this latest incident. The BBC's Jim Muir is watching events from Beirut as it remains very difficult for foreign journalists to get access to Syria. So is he convinced by some opposition suggestions that many unarmed civilians were killed?
I certainly have an open mind on the subject, but I haven't seen evidence that has persuaded me that that was the case, put it that way. I mean, there may be the evidence there, but it hasn't been presented. What we have seen are the bodies of young men who could well have been fighters. Reports from some activists that, in fact, the bulk of the casualties were fighters and not civilians, and that only a handful of civilians were killed in the shelling and not by massacre. So it seems to me that this may well be, and again, I'm keeping an open mind, but it looks like it might be an instance where, partly because of the very heated international diplomatic atmosphere at the moment, the opposition may have seized on this and run with it, but perhaps rather over-enthusiastically, to put it politely.
So is the evidence of some massacres more credible than that of others? And does it depend on which opposition activists are presenting it? Jim Muir again.
Sometimes they seem to hit the nail on the head and sometimes not. For example, with the Hula massacre back in May, I believe, they very quickly presented evidence that was quite compelling, and this came out late at night, and I had no hesitation about reporting that there had been a very grisly massacre. Now, who was responsible, of course, is a different question, but they showed uncontrovertibly the bodies of very large numbers of children and women who had apparently been killed at close range with all kinds of head wounds and so on. That's the kind of evidence you simply can't put to one side and say, well, we don't know what happened. We know what happened. We may not know why it happened and the exact figures. But on that occasion, the version of the activists was completely borne out when UN observers got there the following day and counted exactly the same number of bodies that the activists had been reporting. But it's not always the case. And there have been instances when one has had a strong suspicion that some of these very same activist groups may have greatly exaggerated incidents for political effect in the run-up to Security Council meetings and that kind of thing.